Okay, everybody, let's begin with opening prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for bringing us all to this meeting. Please give us your Holy Spirit so that we can understand your word and remember it, and so that we can be able to see how it fits in with where we are today. Please be with us during this upcoming week, and please protect us and bless us. In Christ's name, amen.
Welcome everybody to this YPG meeting. This is meeting 130 and today is March 3rd, 2024.
The title of today's lesson is The Rise of Artificial Intelligence.
AI is becoming a bigger and bigger part of our world, and today we're going to learn more about it. First, we're going to look at the history and see how many people are calling this the fourth industrial revolution. We're also going to define exactly what AI is and how to understand and see if we can understand that artificial intelligence isn't exactly intelligent in the way that humans are. We're also going to see some of the ways that it is used today, like ChatGPT. Finally, we're going to look at how it is being used in disinformation and some of the warnings that people have against it.
We are currently living in what is described to be as the fourth industrial revolution. This revolution is marked by the large-scale use of AI and other cutting-edge technologies. Back in the 1700s, all tasks such as mining and agriculture were performed by hand, but in 1712, the steam engine was invented. This led to the beginning of what we call the First Industrial Revolution, which took place from 1760 to 1820/1840. And the picture in the middle of the screen at the top is a steam engine, or a steam train, but it's powered by a steam engine. This revolution was the shift from hand power to machines powered by steam and water. Next, in the 1800s, people began to learn that electricity can be harnessed and used to power certain things. Like in the top right, there's a telegraph right there, which uses the electricity to send signals over a telegraph line, basically a telephone pole. I mean, not telephone pole, telephone wire. So when people discovered they could use electricity to power things, the second industrial revolution began, and that took place from 1871 to 1914. Electricity in manufacturing and the construction of the telegraph lines were two of the most popular inventions during this revolution. Thirdly, in the late 1900s, those years brought about the third industrial revolution. With all the different ways electricity was being used, the computer was finally invented. And in the middle of the screen at the bottom, on the bottom left, there is a picture of a really early computer. You know, computers in the 1900s were really big and took up like whole rooms and stuff like that. So the computer was invented. And this third industrial revolution became known as the, quote, digital electronics revolution. And around this time, nuclear weapons were also being invented. Finally, we arrive at the fourth industrial revolution, and that began in the late 2010s. During this time, technologies such as augmented reality, gene editing, and machine automations and more were being invented. However, the primary technology during this time is artificial intelligence. Just like the invention of machines, or just like the invention of machines completely changed the lives of workers, or how the use of electricity opened up the floodgates to the ability to power basically anything, or how computers being invented permanently digitalized our lives and how we interact with other people, AI will change society in some way. It's been blurring the lines between physical and virtual reality and has the potential to change the ideas or change our ideas of what a human is or what it means to be alive. And the last picture, which is the bottom right, is just a general picture of AI and how it's becoming intelligent.
The history of AI. We're currently living in what can be described as okay. Artificial intelligence or AI is not a new concept. Way back in the early 1900s, this concept was being discussed. However, the reason it did not take off back then was because computers were not powerful enough and were too expensive to run, as in people needed, like, in today's money, $200,000 a month to run them. This was the kind of money that only large companies and institutions could afford, and for them to invest in AI, there had to be a really good reason. On top of that, computers in those days could take commands from people but didn't store the command. For AI to work, the machine has to remember what it did so that it can learn from that and adapt. Then came the year 1956. Alan Newell, Cliff Shaw, Herbert Simon invented logic theorists, which was designed to solve problems much like people do. It's considered the first AI program. It was after that that people saw the achievability of AI and in the upcoming years would put time and money into the research. However, because it was so early on in the development of AI and computers themselves, much progress wasn't made and eventually people lost interest. It wasn't until the 1980s that interest in AI was once again restored with money investments and computers being able to learn. But when the goals on those researching it set weren't met, people forgot about AI. That's because they set like really high goals for it because obviously they were discovering something new. And when they didn't reach those goals, people were like, okay, it doesn't work. So they forgot about it. Ironically, it was the time when AI was behind the scenes, not being funded by the government or talked about in the public, that it made significant progress. Today, AI has progressed so much from where it started, and it will only continue to get better.
How smart is AI? AI is smart, but not in the way that not in the way that we would think. Many experts actually say that it's not intelligent like us. In fact, some say that AI is about as smart as a dog or a cat right now, hence the picture. This is because AI does not have the capacity to learn or understand like we do. Most AI is trained with large amounts of data in order to learn simple facts, something that we do not need to do. AI also doesn't have emotions, which is a very important part of how humans operate. For example, in 1997, the IMB computer, Deep Blue, beat the Russian world champion chess player, Gary Kasparov. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He was extremely hurt, but the computer wasn't hurt, even though I should say the year before the computer lost and they had a rematch, and the computer won the second time. And so even though the human could display emotion, the computer could not. There are also several other examples of AI showing, or there is several other examples of AI showing a kind of intelligence, but it often depends on the context and how the AI was trained. For example, AI has passed many tests that people have to take for school or college, like the bar, which is the test in the US in order to practice law. But there are a few problems that with testing AI's intelligence this way. First, First, it is hard to know if the AI was trained with the exact questions that are found on the test, therefore showing how they know the answers. And it can also be shown that they don't do well if a question is reworded, even if it's asking the same thing. Although AI passed the test identifying cancerous tumors, as an example, on the skin, it was only because the AI was picking pictures with rulers because that usually meant the tumor was cancerous. It wasn't focusing on what it looked like. So it's not really passing the test. It's like cheating almost. There are also questions of AI possessing creative intelligence, which we will sort of talk about later. In 2014, an AI named Eugene, which was programmed to act like a 13-year-old boy, passed the Turing test. So the Turing test is a test made to see whether people could identify whether they were talking to a person or talking to a computer. There were 30 judges, and if they thought the AI was human, at least 30% of the time the AI would pass. Eugene was mistaken for human 33% of the time. So even though AI is not intelligent like us yet, sometimes it's easy to think that they are because when we're interacting with them in like a question and answer situation, it's usually they are quite intelligent. So they do have a kind of intelligence, just currently it's not a human level kind of intelligence.
ChatGPT and other chatbots. If you had to name different AI technologies today, chatbots would be one of them as they are one of the most popular forms of AI. Chatbots are able to read a user's input and then produce an intelligent response. They obtain this ability from an AI technology called a large language model, or LLM. An LLM is a type of algorithm that is given huge amounts of data from online resources, books, and more. Then the LLM is trained on this data and learns how to predict the next word in a sentence based on what it's given. So if you give it a sentence, it will predict the next word in that sentence, and then it will predict the next word and the next word and the next word until it has the complete response, or until it has what it thinks is the complete response. And prominent LLMs today include OpenAI's GPT and Google's Gemini. These LLMs have been used to build chatbots like ChatGPT and Copilot, that's Microsoft Copilot, and those are both built on GPT. And there's another chatbot called Bard, which is built on Google's Gemini. And for the most part, these chatbots have become the public face of AI. Like normally when people think of AI, they probably think of ChatGPT. And that is a chatbot.
AI generated photos and videos. Artificial intelligence can produce realistic photos and videos now. AI accomplished this through having access to tons of images and the text that is associated with them. For example, if you search dog on Google, you will get pictures of dogs. AI then associates the pictures of dogs with the word dog. Quoting from a Wired article, at the core is what's called a generative model, which learns the properties of a collection of data and can create new data that statistically fits with the original collection. As well as making images, this approach can be used to write text, compose music, or answer questions. End quote. The AI generated photos that we see today have their roots in a program that was invented in 2014 called Generative Adversarial Networks, or GANs. It was invented by Ian Goodfellow, and it did two things: create an image that resembled something real and then compared the real with the fake. By comparing the two, the machine taught itself to get better at making the fake look real. Today, AI has gotten so good at making the images and videos it generates look so real that if someone wasn't looking hard enough, they might actually think that those photos and videos are real.
AI in medicine. Medicine is an example of a field that AI is being used to make people's jobs more effective. One example of use of AI in this field was COVID-19, where it was used to predict hotspots through contact tracing. AI can also be used to diagnose diseases from symptoms that patients are presenting or flag possibly problematic areas on scans or pictures. Sometimes it's more accurate than doctors and it's also faster. So this is possible because, like we saw, AI is trained on a lot of data, so we can sort through it very quickly and come to a conclusion. AI can also be used in drug discovery, and because it can model possible medicines effectively and like see basically how they deal with the problem that's going on, the disease or virus or like that. Because of the way AI is trained, it is also helpful in research, like we said, with all of the data. So AI will not, at least anytime soon, take over the medical field, but it does help doctors perform their tasks more effectively and less stressfully. So medicine is one of the fields where AI is being very helpful, and it's already being used today.
AI spreading disinformation. As much as there might be benefits from using AI and having it get smarter over the years, there will always be negative consequences. Disinformation is a major concern since AI is becoming very easy to spread lies on the internet, or AI is becoming a tool to easily spread lies on the internet. Governments are beginning to use AI to generate data to sway public opinion in their favor, resulting in an increase in that government's power. For example, in Venezuela, AI deepfakes were used to make people believe they were watching news from a video that's on an English channel outside the country, when in actuality it was just the Venezuelan government using AI to generate what looked like English news. In the United States, fake pictures of Biden and Trump have been circulated on the web. And for example, in this picture, this is a screenshot from a video that the Ron DeSantis campaign posted on Twitter. So the reason there's like words on the screen is because it was annotated and this is a screenshot, so I couldn't get rid of the word. But anyway, they had these six pictures, and three of them are actually AI generated. And I don't know if DeSantis was or the DeSantis team purposely tried to fool us and think these are all real pictures, but he didn't say in the tweet that some of them were AI generated. So we can assume that he wants us to believe that they're all real. But the three ones that are fake are the ones on the top left, middle bottom, and mid and bottom right. And you can notice that there is like something slightly off about the colors and like it's kind of what's the word? Kind of like washed over, kind of like pastel kind
Fuzzy.
of colors. What was that?
Fuzzy. I think Trump's hair
Uh,
is kind of fuzzy.
yeah, the hair is also messed up. I don't know if fuzzy was the word I was looking for, but you can tell that there's something not
Cartoonish.
quite right if you look hard enough. But yeah,
Cartoonish. They look cartoonish.
yeah, cartoonish, that's kind of what it is. But yeah, he put these on Twitter expecting everybody to believe it's real. And now everybody just basically believes he uses AI to try to trick us. But yeah, this is just the worst AI is gonna be. So it just only gets better from here. So however, feeding people disinformation isn't the only drawback of what AI is currently doing or has the potential to do. Sometimes it can be used to cast doubt on truthful information. For example, in 2023, when an unfavorable audio was released or leaked of an Indian official, he claimed that it was AI generated and tried to make people believe it was AI generated when in actuality it was real. But because AI is getting so good, the fact that the claim that it was AI generated is actually became a viable option because people think that AI can do that kind of thing, which it can, but in actuality it was real. And governments have also been using AI technologies to censor information that makes them look bad online. And all these types of disinformation and more have been enabled due to the growing popularity and practicality of AI, and we can expect it to get worse in the future.
Downsides of AI. AI does have its downsides, particularly the part where it's going to take over people's jobs and put millions of people out of work. But in addition to that, AI such as ChatGPT has issues such as plagiarism. It raises questions such as how much does it copy verbatim or paraphrasing from its sources without crediting the source. Quoting from IBM, AI systems, particularly complex models like deep neural networks, can be hard to control and interpret, end quote. The reason that it is hard to control is because people know point A and point Z, but they don't know point B to Y or how the computer gets from A to Z. And if they don't know the progress, then they can't determine whether the computer went right or wrong. And it is this process that will allow AI to become more prominent in our everyday lives to probably a not so great point.
In summary, so we started off by looking at the history of AI, and we saw how some people are considering this the fourth industrial revolution. The first was from around 1760 to 1840. And that's the first industrial revolution. That's when the steam engine was created and machines were made out of that. Trains, steamboats, all that stuff. And then the second industrial revolution, around 1871 to 1914. These are all approximate dates, of course. That was the invention of electricity and it being used for things we mentioned, like the telegraph. And then we had the third industrial revolution in the late 1900s, which was the invention of computers. It's also considered the digital electronics revolution, and that was in the late 1900s. But then we looked at the history of AI and we saw that the first AI program, sorry, yes, correction, electricity wasn't invented, it was harnessed. Thank you. That was in the second industrial revolution. Okay, so then we looked at the first AI program. Well, what is considered the first AI program was logic theorist, and that was invented in 1956. But we saw how AI kind of just like fell apart because computers weren't strong enough to deal with that. So it was kind of left on the wayside. And then in the 1980s, there was another renewed interest, but that was also short-lived. And so we can place the fourth industrial revolution officially from around the 2010s, and that is with the foundation of artificial intelligence. But we also saw there's a lot of other things going on now that can constitute an industrial revolution. Okay, we then looked at, is AI smart? Are they intelligent? Um, no, in a sense, they're not like humans. We saw that some people, experts compare them to dogs right now. That was actually that quote was from one of the executives in Meta. I don't remember which one. So they take a lot of time to learn things, and they're sometimes if you give them a different answer, they can't really use logic to say, well, this question was the same as that question, and so it is different. So I asked ChatGPT, are you smart? And the funny thing is I asked it twice. This is the second time I capitalized say, and it gave me a slightly different answer. But it said, I am an artificial intelligence designed to assist with various tasks. So in that sense, I am programmed to be knowledgeable and helpful. However, I don't possess consciousness or subjective experiences like humans do. So I wouldn't say I'm smart in the same way a person might be. My abilities are based on algorithms, data, and programming rather than independent thought or understanding. So that kind of sums up what we were saying in its own words. So after we looked at is AI intelligent, we looked at ChatGPT, and like we said, it's trained on large models of data, which, like I said, is based on algorithms, data, and programming, and that's what gives it the ability to answer questions that are given to it and things like that. We also looked at other things that AI can do, which is like generate images, and this is an image that AI generated. I put the prompt was Spring Hill covered in flower buds at dawn after a rainy night. And that's what it gave me. That's via Hotpot AI if anybody wants to go look and see what they can make. AI is also useful in the medical field, which it can be used in things like diagnostics and helping doctors basically like not have so much work so they're not so stressed out. That's only one of the fields. Of course, AI is used in a lot of other things that we did not talk about today. Okay, AI has also been used to spread disinformation, sometimes even by governments through things like fake videos and pictures in order to sway public opinion. And we saw that this also leads to doubting other pieces of media, whether they are true or not, because it's getting worse and worse where it's like possible that anything you see could be made by AI and you don't know. So not, I mean, it depends. Like AI can make pictures like we saw, but they weren't very good. Or videos, AI can make duplicate voices, so it is getting easier, much easier to spread disinformation. Some other problems AI can cause are people losing their jobs. if it's more convenient for a computer to perform it. One thing we didn't mention, because it's not really a problem, but AI does make a lot of jobs. But I did see one statistic where it is a little bit less than the jobs it would take away. So there is still a problem in that. And there's also the problem of plagiarism where we don't know where ChatGPT actually got its information from. It could have just quoted that from a paper that I just read, but we don't really know.
Does anybody have any questions or comments before we go to the quiz? Either about this lesson or just the message in general.
Yeah, I wanted to just review a little bit of what AI is still not able to do. I know you mentioned emotions. Is there something else specific?
When we think about intelligence, which is the paragraph I think you're referring to, yes, AI can't exhibit emotions now. It also can't learn very quickly. I know one of the examples, or an example of that, is like it takes thousands of like pieces of data in order for AI to be able to say something is a cat, and that can only happen maybe like 75% of the time that it will identify it correctly. Whereas humans, like we know a cat like 2 or 3 times after seeing it. So AI is it's the way it learns is not like us, and so because that it doesn't learn very quickly, it takes a lot of time, and also, yeah, like I said, it doesn't have emotions or even like human logic. It kind of just like strings together the data that it had to come to an answer, and it doesn't have like a conscience. Also, like ChatGPT said, it does not have a conscience or subjective experiences. So just data, which is usually from words.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm trying to understand. So the person in charge, say the human in charge of inputting all that data, can basically like manipulate it to just do what it really wants to do, right? So is that safe to say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, yeah.
I go.
Okay. Another point I was going to mention is that, yeah, AI is only as smart as the data it's trained on. So, like, if you can train it on a set of data and it can get really good at doing one task, but the minute you want it to do
Mhm.
something else, you have to retrain it on like terabytes of new data. And so it doesn't really learn in the way that humans do, where we can like instantly learn after doing something like 3 or 4 times, whereas AI has to be trained off of a large amount of data the second time. So in a sense, what you're saying is true that, yeah, that it's only as smart as the data that you give it. So the person who's training the AI can essentially make it as smart as they have time to. That answers your question. Or what were you gonna say, Samira?
Yes.
Oh, me, I was just gonna give another example to like what you said. There's a fear in the medical field that if it is trained with like racist data or sexist data, that the AI can give diagnoses that aren't helpful. Like we know women have been the medical system does hasn't been like hasn't researched women well enough to be able to actually provide optimal care. And so if AI is trained on that data, then the disparities against women will continue to exist. So it is, yes, it's depending on whoever is feeding them the data, what data are they giving them, that determines what the AI will do.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, you're answering my question then. That it's going to be whatever, bias or whatever the programmer is putting into it is going to reflect in that. Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. Gals.
You all. We have another question. I'm gonna read it. Have they started tracking AI's impact on the spiritual or religious arena? Meaning, are people using it to supplement or replace God or other higher power source? I did not come across that, and when I was doing the research. Mm, did you guys?
Uh, for religious, no, I haven't either come across people like worshiping AI or trying to use it as saying that it's a higher power. But we do know what Parminder was saying a while ago about how AI is basically becoming people's, what do you call it? Guru. That's what it was. And basically, they just make AI their entire personality, or they just overuse it to a point where they're like not really thinking for themselves. And in that case, you can say it's kind of becoming their religious god or whatever. But people directly saying it's their supreme power, I never heard of that before.
Um,
Well, if there are no questions, you can continue putting questions in the chat or say them if you want, but we can start the quiz. Oh, wait, there's a chat. There
you're
you go.
welcome.
So question number 1. What was the third industrial revolution? Or what was the invention during the main invention during the third industrial revolution, which took place in the roughly the late 1900s or late 20th century? We have a B, an H, another B. Okay, the answer is B, the invention of the computer. H was the invention of steam power. Steam power was the invention during the first industrial revolution. Then we got the second industrial revolution was people learning how to use electricity. And then the third industrial revolution was the invention of the computer, pretty much built using electricity. And then the fourth industrial revolution we're in now is AI. So they kind of build on each other. Like first we use steam to power stuff. We switch to electricity to power stuff. Computers built with electricity. AI built with computers. Question 2. In what year was the first AI considered to be invented? You have an E, another E, and the answer is correct. Yes, E. The first AI was technically invented all the way back in 1956, but AI wasn't really popular during that time because computers weren't that powerful. Question number 3. What is the current level of intelligence of AI intelligence compared to? So what roughly do we say AI is intelligent as compared to? We have a G, another G, another G, another G. G is correct. AI is roughly as smart as a dog, which, if you think about it, some dogs are actually pretty smart, but they're also conscious. And it's like, there's a whole argument on whether AI is conscious in itself or not, which I personally don't think it's currently conscious, but maybe in 10 years, it might be smart enough to be conscious, or if you think it ever has a potential to be conscious. But yeah, it's roughly as intelligent as a dog currently. Question number 4. What is the technology chatbots rely on? So we saw that chatbots are, well, there's a specific algorithm that chatbots use.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. Can you
Oh,
repeat it, please?
yes. What is the technology that chatbots rely on? AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Bard, Copilot, those kind of chatbots. We have 2 Fs, another F, and another F. F is correct. There's an algorithm called a large language model, which basically takes in a whole bunch of data and learns how to generate the next word in a sentence or in a set of words. And that basically produces the output that chatbots give you when you type something in or ask it a question. And last question, which is one of the areas that AI can assist doctors with? So we saw that doctors can use AI in different scenarios, and what is one of those areas? We have an A, another a child, which one's that? We have a D, an A. Okay, the answer is A. It can assist doctors with diagnosing a disease. I don't really, I mean, I guess AI could help assisting doctors with a child, like diagnosing a disease in a child, I guess. Maybe something like that. Congratulations. Thank you for participating.
Thank you everybody for coming. If you want notes or if you have questions or if you want updates or recordings, you can contact us at youthprophecygroup@gmail.com. You can also check out our website for any of our past lessons. Our next meeting will be on May 5th, 2024. That's because next month there is going to be a camp meeting in Brazil. That's Friday through Sunday. So we're going to let them have the time. We don't know the times yet for the meetings, but just to be safe, we'll be at the camp meeting next month instead of here. So our next meeting will be in May, not in April.
And now let's close with prayer. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us to this meeting. Please continue to be with us today and give us all the fruits of the Spirit. Thank you for giving us an understanding of this message and give us enough clear understanding so that we can teach it to others. We love you. Thank you for first loving us. Amen.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye.
coming.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Greetings to your family.
You're welcome. Thank you.